The lights inside the Ireland's Got Talent theater glow brightly as the crowd settles into their seats. There is a buzz of excitement in the air, mixed with curiosity about who will walk onto the stage next. From the side curtain, a slim young man steps forward slowly. His name is Carlo Reyes, a poor street performer from Davao City in the Philippines. His suit looks borrowed, a little too big on his thin frame, the sleeves hanging slightly past his wrists. His shoes are scuffed, polished just enough to look presentable. He pauses at center stage, blinking under the powerful lights, taking in the size of the audience in front of him. Carlo smiles nervously and waves softly. The audience responds with polite applause. He grips the microphone with both hands, steadying himself. When asked to introduce himself, his voice is gentle and slightly shaky at first. He explains that he comes from Davao City and grew up in poverty. He talks about performing impressions on the streets, on buses, and at small gatherings just to earn a little money to help his family. Laughter helped him survive, he says. Making people smile gave him hope when life felt heavy. The judges listen carefully. One leans forward with interest. Another nods slowly, appreciating his honesty. Carlo takes a breath and straightens his posture. His nervousness begins to fade as he talks about comedy being his escape. He explains that impressions became his strength, something that made people stop and listen even if only for a moment. When a judge asks what impression he will do, Carlo pauses, smiles shyly, then says he will perform one that always gets people laughing, even in the hardest times. The judges exchange curious glances. The audience murmurs with anticipation. Carlo steps back from the microphone. He closes his eyes briefly, as if switching something on inside himself. When he opens them, his expression changes instantly. His posture shifts. His face tightens into confidence. His hands lift in a familiar, exaggerated way. Without warning, he begins speaking in a Donald Trump impression that is shockingly accurate. The voice, the rhythm, the pauses, the tone, everything hits perfectly. The audience bursts into laughter within seconds. Carlo moves across the stage, fully in character now. He exaggerates the hand gestures, the confident walk, the dramatic pauses between sentences. Each line lands harder than the last. The jokes are playful and clever, focusing on confidence, big dreams, and believing you are the best, no matter where you come from. The audience laughs louder with every moment. Some clap mid-performance, unable to hold back their reaction. At the judges' table, the reaction is immediate. One judge leans forward, laughing uncontrollably, slapping the table in disbelief. Another judge throws their head back, wiping tears from their eyes as they struggle to breathe through laughter. Simon Cowell laughs so hard he has to cover his face, shaking his head in disbelief. Tears form at the corners of his eyes as he tries to regain composure. Carlo continues without missing a beat. He uses the impression to tell a story, joking about starting with nothing and believing you can still make it big. His timing is perfect. He pauses just long enough before punchlines, letting the tension build before releasing it in laughter. The audience roars. The energy in the room is electric. What started as nervous curiosity has turned into pure joy. As the performance goes on, Carlo's confidence grows. He no longer looks like a nervous poor street performer. He looks like someone who belongs on that stage. He paces back and forth, pointing playfully at the judges, reacting to their laughter, feeding off their energy. Simon Cowell wipes his eyes again, laughing harder than before. Another judge tries to speak but breaks down laughing instead, unable to get words out. Carlo adds a few final lines, perfectly timed, ending with a confident pose and a familiar expression that sends the audience into one last wave of laughter. The moment he stops speaking, the room explodes. The audience jumps to their feet, cheering and applauding loudly. People whistle, clap, and shout his name. Carlo stands frozen for a second, stunned by the reaction. Then his face breaks into a wide smile as tears fill his eyes. He bows repeatedly, placing his hand over his heart. The applause does not stop. Carlo laughs and cries at the same time, overwhelmed by the moment. All the judges stand up. Simon Cowell is still smiling, shaking his head, clearly impressed. One judge wipes tears from their face and says they have not laughed like that in years. Another judge speaks through laughter and emotion, praising Carlo for turning struggle into joy and reminding everyone how powerful comedy can be. Simon Cowell finally speaks, his voice still full of laughter. He says that this is one of the best impressions he has ever seen, not just on this stage but anywhere. He adds that Carlo has incredible timing, confidence, and heart. Carlo covers his face with his hands, overwhelmed, crying openly now. The audience applauds again, louder than before. Carlo takes a deep breath and thanks the judges and audience, his voice shaking with emotion. He explains that making people laugh has always been his dream, and standing on this stage feels unreal. He looks around the theater, taking it all in. A poor boy from Davao City who once performed on street corners is now being celebrated on one of the biggest stages in the world. The judges continue praising him, laughing again as they recall moments from the performance. The atmosphere is joyful and emotional at the same time. Carlo bows one last time and steps back, still smiling through tears. As he walks off the stage, the audience keeps clapping, some still laughing, others wiping tears from their eyes. Backstage, Carlo pauses for a moment, placing a hand on the wall as he catches his breath. His laughter fades into quiet tears of relief and happiness. Everything he went through, every hard night, every performance on the streets, led to this moment. On stage, the judges are still smiling, shaking their heads in disbelief, knowing they have just witnessed something special. The camera returns to the stage where the applause slowly fades, but the smiles remain. Ireland's Got Talent has just been reminded that talent does not come from wealth or comfort. It comes from resilience, creativity, and heart. Carlo Reyes from Davao City walked onto the stage as a poor comedian and walked off as someone who made an entire theater laugh until they cried. The memory of his performance lingers in the air, a reminder that sometimes, laughter is the most powerful gift of all.